Désolé à tous pour le retard. On va recommencer. Euh, Petit problème technique, petit problème de son, mais je pense que c'est réglé. Merci à tous pour votre patience. Oui, l'ISO, il en fait. Quand le dernier appât est sorti, là, il a fait.
Is actually how much it seems to have freed Apple up to make the Pro phones even more pro. Have you noticed that? These
Pour ceux qui viennent de nous rejoindre, c'est une review du iPhone Pro 17. For those who just came to the live, it's a review of the iPhone Pro, the iPhone 17 Pro.
new Pro phones are thicker than last year, more room inside for bigger batteries and a vapor chamber and a bigger camera. It's not quite on the level of the Ultra phones, but this is the most maximalist that an iPhone has ever felt. And I like it. But also, let me let you in on a little not so secret. The Pro phone is always the best selling one. Like this year, the iPhone Air is the most interesting and it's getting the most YouTube clicks and the most views. But then the base 17 is more than ever the one that most people should get and the best deal. But it turns out the Pro Max specifically by far is the most popular by sales numbers. I was going to try to find a way to show you guys this. You know, channel sponsor Dbrand, they make a accessory for every single model of iPhone. And so their sales distributions kind of match Apple's. And this is their distribution this year. It's over half are Pro Maxes. And between the two Pros, that's like 90% of orders. So yeah, it's fun to watch Apple kind of walk this line between being a more pro phone than ever before and this maximalist new design and everything they're doing, but also being literally the most mainstream phone of all time. Like the cameras, might as well start there, right?
This is where my issue is with the iPhones, right? I'm an iPhone fan. Everybody knows that. I always want to have the latest iPhone, right? I don't make um I'm not big into videos. I'm not big into photos. I take photos. I took photos of my kids. I take photos of the sky from time to time. But I don't technically need an iPhone Pro to do that. I can I can use the regular iPhone to do that. But people being people and me being a fan, I end up buying a Pro, right? Which is which is interesting when you really think about it, right? You don't need all that muscle, but you still get it. Anyway, that's just me.
The cameras are the most pro thing about the Pro iPhone every year. And on one hand, no professional would say, oh yeah, thank gosh I have 8 lenses now in my smartphone, like Apple seems to want us to believe. It clearly has three. But the three cameras you get are more evenly matched than ever. The primary and ultra wide are essentially unchanged from last year, but the telephoto gets a big update. It's now also a 48 megapixel camera, and it's a 4x telephoto lens. Last year was a 5x, but only 12 megapixels. So this new one feels like a more natural portrait focal length. It's roughly 100 millimeter equivalent, and all of your zoom shots will have much more detail and much less noise, thanks to the sensor being much larger and much higher resolution. Now, I will give them credit for the specific 2x zoom increments because while they are not actually new lenses, they do specifically process each of the images shot in a 2x crop to be slightly sharper and better looking than just a pure digital crop on the middle of the sensor. So, it's not the level of a pure optical zoom, but it's better than nothing. So I don't know why they only do it at these focal lengths, honestly. Either way, it's a really nice total package now. 3 matching 48 megapixel cameras, all of which are super reliable, just as good for casual shooters as they are for people who depend on their iPhone for work, or maybe who happen to have an entire YouTube channel about cars that they happen to shoot all on smartphones. Yeah. Electric G-Wagon review coming to autofocus shot on iPhone 17 Pro very soon. I do still kind of find myself wishing they made some other improvements, like the point light problem at night when you shoot in the dark and those little flares always show up. They haven't fixed that at all. Or even adding 8K video support. There's a 2 terabyte iPhone model now. I feel like 8K video is just a flip of a switch away, but not this year. But the changes are stacking up nicely over the years from older Pro phones like the 13 Pro and the 14 Pro. It's not a huge difference versus last year, but it's nice. Also, what you're watching right now is ProRes RAW footage from the iPhone 17 Pro, which I was particularly excited about because that means I can go into the new Final Cut Pro 11.2, I think it is, and I can literally change ISO and white balance after I shoot, which is very useful. Also,
This is actually great. I don't know how many of you guys actually watch. I'm pretty sure if you listen to this, you're an iPhone fan, you watch the keynote, you watch all those things, right? So what you realize is that the camera is so good that you can actually film on your phone and have the same quality as a those thousands and thousands of dollars cameras, which is great. I mean, as long as you know how to edit a video, you take it from your phone and you get something great. Wow, I like that. And it seems to be more and more sharper, better colors, better everything. So it's good to see.
the file sizes are huge. And there's even another Pro feature that they added that they couldn't brand for themselves because pros already use it and named it, and that's Genlock support, which basically lets devices talk to each other so that they can stay in sync over large multi-device shoots. Pretty sick. And also the selfie cameras are more pro than ever. More about that in the 17 base review, but yeah, a lot going on with the cameras. So let's be real, 95% of people who get these phones are just gonna point and shoot, and these are more capable and reliable than ever for that. If you want more in-depth stuff on shooting like professionally with this camera, you can check out Tyler Stallman's review, which I'll link below. It's really in-depth, and he shot the whole thing also on the iPhone. My favorite thing about this new Pro iPhone, though, is actually the new design. It's not often that the newest iPhones actually change a lot and get thicker and heavier. But like I said, I think that's kind of one of the best things about them coming out with a separate phone that's designed just to be super thin, so that if you want a thin phone, go get the Air. But if you don't care about that, if that's not one of your priorities, then here's the new Pro, which goes the other direction and isn't afraid of a few extra fractions of an inch. And I love that it's an all unibody metal jacket now. This is not a glass sandwich anymore. Literally the whole body of the phone is metal now with glass cutouts at the back for wireless charging and then at the top for those millimeter wave antennas. This makes it more durable. It makes more room inside for a bigger battery, which we'll get to in a second. And there's enough room for a vapor chamber for the first time ever in an iPhone. And then the new plateau at the top. I actually think it's great. This is where I've been putting my index finger on Android phones for years. It's like a natural resting spot to hold up the phone. Same thing with this one now. And Corning's Ceramic Shield 2, in case you haven't already heard, is also clear.
I really like the fact that you can now have a bigger iPhone Pro, right? Bigger, better battery, better everything, right? So you have the chance of getting the iPhone Air, which is very thin, very stylish, and not too much battery. Having a Pro one, huge battery and everything, the whole shebang in it, right? So if you don't mind having something heavy as a phone, well, heavy, it all depends on what you call heavy, but if you want something heavy, then you can have the Pro and do all the things that Pro phones do, which is nice. It's very nice.
Clearly awesome for preventing scratches to the front glass. A couple of nitpicks though. No black color Pro phone. You sickos. This is like one of those weird things that it feels like Apple's doing just to spite me, where they're making a bunch of products that should have a black version but don't. Like the new MacBook Airs come in silver and starlight and sky blue and dark blue, but no black. And then the AirPods Max refresh also comes in a bunch of colors and dark blue, but no black. We need a dark neutral, especially because the color that you pick actually shows up around the front bezel of the phone. So you see the color you pick all the time. It makes the orange and silver that much more annoying to me. I told you it was a nitpick. But then you've probably also already seen the chatter about Scratchgate, which is just how easily it seems like the anodization layer on top of the aluminum seems to scratch off and then reveal the raw silver aluminum underneath it. And I kind of don't really know what to make of this yet. Like, I feel like this has come up before with a lot of darker anodized aluminum phones. And as a person who rocks a phone with no case, I haven't had any issues with the one I'm using. I've been tossing it around, but the JRig Everything test has revealed that the weakest part that you could get scratched or dinged is going to be around the tightest corner radii, like around the camera plateau. So we'll see how many phones this ends up affecting. But we got to talk about the insides of this phone because the redesign is one thing.
I really don't care about the scratches, really. Your phone will scratch. I have kids. They scratch my phone. They drop my phone. They throw my phone. So it's what it is.
Your iPhone 17 needs a mouse case.
But there's even more going on under the surface. The A19 Pro chip, shocker, is pretty great. It's benchmarked around 20% faster than the last generation. And when paired with iOS 26 and 12 gigs of RAM now, these phones feel really quick and snappy, which is great. But the extra thickness has also made room for a vapor chamber for the first time. And it's actually made a real difference to the thermals and the behavior of this phone. Big shout out to HDX Studio, YouTuber, who was able to put thermal cameras on these phones under load and really visualize this. But especially compared to the Air, these phones rarely got any more than slightly warm to the touch for me. And as a result, they were able to actually hold higher frame rates longer while gaming and keep the display brightness higher when recording videos for a long time. Check out the rest of his video too, by the way. It's freaking incredibly well done. But it also reminded me about why in the Android world, like gaming phones kind of have the same effect. The stuff that makes a gaming phone really good, like better speakers and better performance and better screen and big batteries, well, all that stuff is awesome for regular use too. And it's the same deal for the Pro iPhone. The stuff that makes a really good Pro iPhone, like the improved display and the much better cameras and the thicker, better build with improved cooling for shooting videos longer and better sustained performance. It turns out the masses buying iPhone 17 Pro Max also really enjoy nicer screens, cameras, and batteries too. Not a surprise. And we've all been saying for years, hey, just make a thicker phone and put more battery in it. And I just really feel like this is another place where having an iPhone Air focusing on getting super thin, let them feel free to go the total other direction with the other phones. Because if they're going to claim the iPhone Air is all day battery life, then great. Every single other phone in the lineup gets even thicker with bigger batteries. So the 17 Pro has a 20% bigger battery than last year. And the Pro Max actually cracks the 5,000 milliamp hour mark for the first time ever, which is great in iPhone land. And also 40-watt charging now. So that's half battery in 20 minutes. To Apple, that's a big deal. Like, we welcome a 20% year-over-year improvement. Now in Android land, obviously it kind of looks like nothing. Like, it's nowhere near the Ultra phones with 6,000 milliamp hour silicon carbon batteries and 100-watt charging and all that. But for a phone that ships like in the volume that the iPhone does, very happy to see that sort of improvement when last year's phone already had really good battery. The iPhone is also very efficient, so I am getting a nice 5+ hours of screen on time every day on not even the bigger phone, and it's lasting all day with 30+% left, so I'm loving it. And then there's just all sorts of other little things too. Like with this screen, I think this is the first generation of iPhone that's had a toggle for PWM dimming. Now it's buried in the accessibility settings, but you can search and find it, and that is very welcome to many people. And there's also a slightly noticeable but better than nothing anti-reflective coating, but more importantly, the display gets slightly brighter now, and I noticed that it's up to 3000 nits peak, and satellite connectivity has expanded to cover messaging and location sharing too now, which is useful. So at the end of the day, the paradox is that making the Pro iPhones more Pro is actually better for the masses. And this is the best one yet. It's the most freed one yet. And I think, when they eventually, if they make some iPhone Ultra at some point, I'll probably still want all of that over this. But for now, this is good stuff. Now, if you are thinking about getting an iPhone 17, but you are concerned about those scratches, then channel sponsor Dbrand does have some options for you, like this grip case, which I have here in matte black. And it also does a pretty good job of hiding that plateau, which if you've seen Zach's durability test, it is the most vulnerable spot for the anodization to chip off. Alternatively, if you're more of a clear case person, you can grab one of their ghost cases instead, which comes with a lifetime zero yellowing guarantee and also have full camera protection. Fun fact, these are also available at Best Buy in the US now too. Both cases check all the boxes you want in an iPhone case, like strong MagSafe and camera control buttons, but most importantly, they're both super protective. And then whichever way you go, if you want to round out your protection with a screen protector, you can also pick up one of Dbrand's Prism protectors. They're super easy to install, and if you bundle it with either a grip case or a ghost case, you can use code MKBHD at checkout to save 42% on the Prism. Pretty sweet deal. I'll leave a link down below for you to check them all out. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys very soon, still in Techtember, in the next one.
Mais voilà, c'était pas mal. C'était pas mal. C'était notre review of iPhone 17 Pro. So, my final thoughts on the phone. Bigger phone, so better battery. Cameras are better. The colors, not so much. Um, like you said, a black one would be fantastic, or matte black one would be fantastic, so it can match the watch, the Ultra. What else? The speed is okay. I mean, it's an iPhone for those who use iPhone, or like us, because I have an iPhone as well. There's not much of a use different from year to year. We all know that. I mean, if you want to see really improvement, you have to average like a 3 year span to get something useful out of the phone. So, not, it's what it is. You know, it's what it is. And but I like it personally. For my daily use and for my use, I go with the iPhone Air, because that's I don't need, the three cameras. Bonsoir Grace, j'espère que tu vas bien, j'espère que tes enfants vont bien. Bisous à toi, merci d'être passé. I don't need all that, right? um I know the battery will suck, but I'm home, I work from home, or I'm in the car, so I have plenty of places to charge. If I can get 4 or 5 hours out of it and plug, great. Otherwise, I just get the extra $100 power bank, and then I have like a whole day thing, which would be great as well. So that was it for Découverte today. iPhone 17 Pro. Thank you for watching. We see you next time. Bisous.